that's love.
Fabulous. John, you might remember that, or you will remember, it was done originally by Charlie Gracie.
Yeah.
I thought Charlie Gracie was terrific. Is that where you got the idea from, taking his American version?
Yeah, we changed the version, obviously, quite considerably to Charlie Gracie's. We didn't try and copy Charlie Gracie, but it was a great song of its time, fabulous, and it sort of rocked along. And in fact, the last we ended it. You remember a film called High Society?
Yes.
With Frank Sinatra, wasn't it? And Bing Crosby, Grace Kelly.
Well, of course, I've shaken your hand, and if you've shaken the hand, of course, of Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley, you shook hands and.
Yeah. Yes, I suppose it has, isn't it?
Yes. This hand's shaking hands with a few people, and like your good self. God, where do we start with you? Frank Sinatra. Let's stay on that one. You were saying about Frank Sinatra.
Well, I was just saying that in that film High Society, Louis Armstrong sings the title role, and he ended it the same way as we copied him. Actually, we ended Fabulous the same way as he ended. Well, that's love. But in fact, in High Society, it's well, that's jazz.
Yeah, I did like Charlie Gracie, and he did Butterfly. That was another good one. Yeah, a very good artist. So here we are in your story up to now. Robert Stigwood is your manager.
Yes.
So was it his idea to go to Joe Meeks?
Yes.
So they were pals, obviously.
You see, I was doing a television series at Granada called Biggles. And do you remember the Biggles books? I wonder if anybody out there remembers the Biggles books.
John giving a nod there. You remember it, John?
He was an air ace. He was an international detective, Captain Biggles. Bigglesworth was his name, known as Biggles. And I was one of his assistants in Biggles, the TV series. I had a sort of regular role on it. And it was actually while I was doing that, because we were talking earlier about there were only two networks on television then, and the BBC and ITV. Well, that was ITV. It came on for about, I think they were half-hour episodes. They came on at about 6:30, and I built up quite a big fan club of teenagers sort of would watch and write into Granada Television, and they'd ask if they'd say things like, "You look like a pop star, are you? Why didn't you become a pop star?"
Oh,
all these strange things.
No, you did. A good-looking boy, John. Even as a serious, real man, you can see that, like, certain people have got it, and you had that vibe about you.
Well, whatever.
I would have thought you'd be worn out by now when the ladies coming at you.
No, you can never get worn.
You never get.
Always ready for that.
Always ready for action. So
anyway, Robert Stigwood, who was my manager, said, well, "Can you sing?" Well, you never ask an actor if he can do anything, because he always says yes, right? You know, can you fly an airplane? Yes, you got the part. You sort that out later. So anyway, I said, "Can you sing?" Yeah, I can sing, sort of. So anyway, that's how it started. And
so he took you along.
Yeah.
Did he go with you? Because you were going to meet some eccentric. I mean, Joe Meek really wasn't absolutely.
In those days, Joe Meek had a flat he wasn't in the Holloway Road where his famous studio finished up being, but he had a flat in Holland Park in London. And I came down from Manchester one weekend, and Robert Stigwood said, "Right, we're meeting this independent record producer called Joe Meek." I think it was about 3 o'clock Saturday afternoon, so I met up with Stigwood and we went over to meet Joe Meek and went to his flat, and Charles Blackwell was there. Remember Charles Blackwell?
Yes.
He did most of the arrangements of these early songs. Very talented musician. And we went into this beautiful flat, and in the sitting room, big living room, there was this piano and a mic, stand mic, and various bits of recording equipment that Joe had there, and it was all very relaxing. And finally Joe said, "Well, let's see what you can do." So I got up and sung, and when he played it back, I thought, I didn't recognise myself. You know, Joe was a wizard at sort of making his sound good.
Oh, absolutely.
Or bad, whichever way you want to look at it.
He was without a doubt the English Phil Spector.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah.
Without any doubt.
Nobody had ever heard of Joe Meek then. I mean, he was just starting out. Really.
But hadn't he had Telstar at number one? Did that come later?
That came much later. Yeah.
Because I know for a fact Joe Meek was very excited about you turning up, and of course you've gone through this thing about, well, I thought he knew you could sing, but obviously he didn't know.
No.
Robert Stigwood. Robert Stigwood was one cool character, no doubt about it.
He was a brilliant man. I mean, I did actually, when Robert Stigwood said to me, well, can you sing? And I said, well, yeah, I think so. And he said, well, sing something. And I remember standing in Stigwood's office, which was then not in the Edgware Road. His first office was in Monmouth Street, just off Covent Garden, the old Covent Garden.
Okay.
So I sung something, and he said, yeah, that'll do. And off we went. And so then we went off, and I never heard much for a few weeks after that, and then he called me up in Manchester and said, look, we've got this meeting with a guy called Joe Meek, who's an independent record producer.
So you immediately got on with Joe. Were you present when any of the tantrums happened?
No, you see, I never saw that side of Joe. As I think I said to you earlier, I sort of came through a different door to everybody else. I was on quite a popular
pedestal. You were on a pedestal.
Well, I was an actor, you see, and I wasn't really a singer, and I was an actor. I was a working actor. I was in a television series every week. So, and I had by that time sort of got a fan club, and it was all sort of beginning to happen. And,
would you say the stage show that was on in the West End, I think it was last year, was pretty true to form? The carry on, the acting, and the way it was portrayed.
What do you mean, Telstar, the play?
The play.
I don't. I mean, I played a small part, I guess, in Joe Meek's.
Yes, but what I'm saying in that, Joe was going. John Leyton's coming over. There was lots of excitement, and then there was a character playing your part.
Yes.
Who came in.
I think that was a bit overdone, really.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think Joe Meek was that excited. Well, he might have been, I don't know. Because in the play, of course, my character wasn't there, was he? I remember in the play, the character playing me pitches up in a flying jacket because, they thought I'd come off the set of Biggles or something.
Okay.
Which was, of course, ridiculous. I mean, I didn't walk around in a flying jacket.
But nevertheless, it was very good. I enjoyed it. That was a really good play. Now, we're going to play another track off here. For those of you who don't know, Remembering John Leyton, the anthology album's out now. Right. Double CD. Can you buy this in shops, or is that...
I believe so, yes, you can buy it in the shops. And there's stuff on that that even I know I did. I mean, there's about 60-odd tracks on it, isn't there?
Oh, it's pretty fantastic.
There's some pretty seriously bad tracks on that.
Well, they're original. A lot of artists...
A lot of them, actually, are kind of just messing around in the studios and demoing it. And
no, a lot of artists redo their stuff, which I personally hate, John. But
well, none of that's redone.
Yours original.
That's all original. That's all done in Joe Meek's studio, and there are some tracks on there that I recorded for Joe, but they were meant as demos for other singers to sing, to listen to.
We're going to go into Wild Wind now. Any memories of that, recording it?
Well, yeah, because that again, Johnny Remember Me was written by Jeff Goddard, and it was arranged by Charles Blackwell. And then the Wild Wind was the second song. Now, Johnny Remember Me had been an enormous hit. And suddenly, really, wow,
How did that do in America?
Did quite well, but in those days it was very difficult to crack the American market. I don't know why. I'm sure if it fast forward to today, it probably would have done as well in America as it did in this country. But it went to number one all over the world, but it didn't make the top of the American charts, unfortunately.
What's that, Johnny Remember Me?
Johnny Remember Me, yeah.